Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Stuart Rosenberg's The Amityville Horror from 1979. So yes, we are back once again, this time around, ready to discuss some horror films for the month of Halloween. And the Halloween season has recently begun, and of course, one of the first horrors that I've been watching again, rewatching this one, was The Amityville Horror. And yeah, I wanted to talk about this film today. And this is a film that I have seen before, as a kid, once or twice, and I hadn't seen it for many, many years. And yeah, I really had a nice time watching this again last night. So there will be a spoiler warning for this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, I recommend seeing it first and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. And we can talk about this film in the comments. So yes, with all that said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film. And yes, as I say, this is a film that I saw a couple of times as a kid. Also saw the 2005 remake, of course, with Ryan Reynolds. And yeah, didn't see any of the sequels to this franchise. So these are the only two that I've seen. And I enjoyed both of these films. When I was a kid, and I think this one, once again, seeing it, it's a solid film. I think it's quite interesting because it's one of the most successful films, horror films of all time, really. And the budget was very low, and it's done amazing at the box office. And it's one that, at the same time, was not at all, received well by the critics. It's more of a, the fans like it and the critics don't. It really wasn't successful in that sense and well received. But yeah, it's a film that I have seen, and not for many, many years, and I wanted to see it again for the Halloween season. And I do enjoy this one. It's got a lot going for it. I really do. I think it's better than the remake as well. If you're interested in that, I think the remake is an enjoyable film as well, but this one is better, and it's got more of an atmosphere. It's just better made, I feel, and it's, even though I don't think this is a great horror film personally, I do enjoy this one. It's got a nice feeling, peaceful locations. Some of the performances, are very good, from James Brolin especially, and Rod Steiger in this film, is really, really good. And I just enjoy watching this film. I think it's a bit long, for what it is. Saying that, it's a 2-hour film, really, and it's I wouldn't normally say that, but for what this film is, I think at times, definitely it's nice and patient. It benefits from that. But I think other times it's a bit drawn out, and you could say repetitive in a way, as we go throughout the film, and maybe could have been trimmed a bit. But I think, all that aside, it's definitely got some, really creepy moments, in this film. And one of the signature moments that I remember from, being a kid, was the get out, line, and really, really scary in this one, and way more scary than the remake in that sense. I just think the way we introduced these characters was really well done, and obviously we have the prologue at the beginning, and really interesting shot, of the house as well, the red and it fading, and all that kind of stuff there with the previous family, and then obviously we have the current family, George Lutz and Kathy as well. Margot Kidder plays Kathy, and of course George played by James Brolin, and yeah, we have other characters as well in the film, but this is the main family in the house, and them essentially experiencing these paranormal activities, and obviously the story is quite interesting. That it's kind of George, looks like the previous husband, and the father, of course, and yeah, I always thought that was quite interesting how he's kind of they've moved into this house, and it's a bit sketchy with the whole kind of selling of the house, and they're trying to get rid of it, of course, and yeah, it's just a case of things unravel over the course of the film, and I really like the way in which that happens. As I say, it is a bit too long, but for the most part, in the first half, it is nice that we have more of a patient, gradual, kind of unfolding of events, and it really only hurts the film in the second half a bit, and the final act, it seems like is potentially about to happen at one point, and then we have another kind of 20-30 minutes of the film, but I think the first half of the film was really nice, especially I love the locations here, very nice autumn feel to the film, and just the visuals to this at times are really nice. You could say it's a bit basic here and there, just the way it is put together, and there could have been more cinematic moments, I feel. It does have quite an atmosphere to this one, and I think very creepy at times, and just even when they're walking in the house in the daytime, and it's quite dingy, house, of course, and just very subtle moments, I feel camera moments where we just have kind of moving through the house, following George, for example, and it's just very creepy, what you don't see in this film, and different obviously audio moments early on as well, with the whole get out line, and just different sounds that we hear, and I think that's really well done, and I think the film could have potentially, in the final act at least, shown a bit more. There could have been just more shown for example. But I think it is nice that it's more of a kind of subtle film, in that sense. And it is a very creepy film, just the atmosphere to this, the locations, of course, and the sound design really. I think it relies more on audio at first, at least, and I think we do have different moments that are kind of shown, but nothing is really given away until the final act, and even then, I think. Potentially for me, there could have been more shown. The final act is a bit too, subtle in the sense that we don't really see anything, and just even more of a backstory with what happened before would have been nice, and seeing more stuff with that. I just don't feel there's enough wrap up as well with George, enough closure. In that final act, even though it's quite explosive, you could say, and some more things are given to us that we learn. Obviously, this was what happened before, way back in the day. But I think just the way in which George is kind of just suddenly is okay really, and I think just the whole kind of last scene is a little bit rushed and not enough closure for me really. But I think as well one of the main things is Frank Delaney, played by of course Rod Steiger, in a very good performance here. And a really good character. I think that was I wasn't a fan of how that kind of wrapped up and ended. It was a bit too kind of dark and one-sided, and I just didn't like the way in which he never really returned in the film, and I thought it was a bit kind of it could have been done in a different way, handled a bit better, but until that final act, I really enjoyed as I say, Frank, Father Frank, he was really, really good in this film, and added a lot of depth to it. I think where we've got this kind of simple family, kind of a house haunting. Elsewhere we've got the kind of whole thing of the church, and the disagreements, of course, and Frank trying to push for help for this family, and not really getting it, and I think that was really interesting behind the scenes, where we have that kind of alongside the kind of the house haunting of this family, and I do enjoy it, the way it kind of the editing is done, and how that is balanced throughout most of the film. But as I say, the final act is where some things that really don't come together well enough for me, and I think it's a shame because it could have been a real good final act in that sense, with all the characters, a lot more closure there, and it would have added, kind of allowed the film to kind of have more, closure and wrap up there. All that aside, though, I do enjoy the family dynamic. Of course, James Brolin and Margot Kidder. I think the kind of chemistry there is very good, and I think just it's a nice, I find warm family, kind of film at times. The interactions, the kids and all this. It's just, and the dog, of course, Harry. Really added a lot to the film, and I just love as well, in that final act where they do kind of go back to save, Harry the dog, and just, when James Brolin is carrying Harry, it's just really cute, and I think to the car, of course, and just, a really cute dog, and I really loved the role that the dog played in the film, and just the fact that they do go back, for the dog at the end, and of course the smiles and stuff, and just the kind of recognition of the dog, was really nice, and I did appreciate that. But I think throughout this, it's really, really nice locations, and I just love just the way the score is done at times. It's quite a good score, and I think obviously it was nominated for an Oscar as well, and I think it's really kind of creepy in the way it's done throughout the film, and I just think when we have the final act, it's a bit more kind of explosive moments. It's a bit more kind of loud and stuff. But I really enjoy it, particularly when we have more the quiet moments, and just the subtle moments of of the score, and coming in, kicking in there, and it was really well done at times. I think in terms of the visuals, the sound design, really, really good, and I think the characters. I think I do enjoy a few of them quite a bit. Other times, it's a bit basic. I think this is a bit of a basic film. Here and there. It's just it could have been. Some of this material could have been elevated. But I think overall, definitely a solid film, and I did enjoy watching this again. It's peaceful. It's kind of soothing. And in terms of how scary this film is, I definitely think it has a lot of moments that are very disturbing, and some moments that I was quite on edge with, particularly in that first half. I don't think the final act is as scary really, other than a couple of moments that are quite jumpy in that sense. But I think especially the first half of the film was very very, very disturbing actually at times, and it was well done. And again, I think more could have been done in the second half in that sense. It kind of loses its scare factor as we go throughout the film a little bit. But I think definitely a very creepy film, and the kind of minimalist direction at times was very effective. Stuart Rosenberg directed as well. You know, obviously Cool Hand Luke. You know, I've seen from this director, and that's a film that I absolutely love. Stunning film. So yeah, you know, this is another film that I do enjoy. You know, from this director, and you know, I just think James Brolin in this film, you know, is really good. Really got behind, you know, this family, and you know, I think just really enjoyed, you know, this performance in particular. And just the chemistry between James Brolin and Margot Kidder as well, you know, as I say, was really well done. And you know, I enjoyed Rod Steiger in this film. He was so good at times. You know, really gave quite an emotional performance. You know, he's really giving his all in this film. And we have Murray Hamilton as well in this film as Father Ryan, and you know, he was good in this film. You know, kind of the friction between the two, especially Rod Steiger and him, was really well done, and added a lot, as I say, behind the scenes, a lot of kind of drama. And yeah, I really enjoyed seeing Murray Hamilton again, and of course from the iconic, you know, kind of role from Jaws. You know, that's another film that, you know, he was, you know, great in, of course. But yeah, just seeing them two kind of go at each other was really entertaining, and just different moments with yeah, Father Delaney. You know, it's really kind of interesting, and you know, investing. As I say, it kind of goes off in the final act with this character, which was very disappointing to me. I wanted more, you know, kind of, he deserved more in this film, really, and more, you know, wrap up, especially. But overall, this film is nice to watch. You know, it's very enjoyable at times. You know, I think it does have moments that are a bit flat here and there, and it could have been trimmed definitely quite a bit. You know, it's a bit too long for what this film is. You know, and I think some of the final act, the way it comes together, is not quite for my liking at all, really. With some of the characters and their arcs and how they kind of draw to a close. But you know, it's a nice, you know, kind of film here. The way it's kind of set up as well. You know, it's quite peaceful. Just, you know, getting shown around the house, for example, as well. You know, it's really nice the way we're introduced to the location, and of course seeing all the rooms, and of course the outbuildings and stuff like this. Really nice, and the way this was shot at times was very good, and quite experimental. You know, the kind of the beginning, and also just seeing over the film. You know, the way the house is kind of shown. You know, throughout the different days, of course, and you know, I like that as well. The aspect of seeing what day it is, you know, of course, day 18, for example, and, you know, seeing the day of the week. It was well done, and just, yeah, I thought this film was effective in that sense, and overall, while some things fall short, you know, and some things could have been better, for sure, especially in that final act, I do enjoy this one. I think it's a pretty solid film, you know, really, and all things considered, it's definitely a scary film, and you know, one that I did enjoy some of the characters, and just the overall experience of this was nice to see again after, you know, many years. So yes, my rating for this film is a 69%. So a high score from me, you know, fairly solid. You know, I think it could have been higher if it had been, you know, kind of more satisfying, really, and more kind of coming together better in the, you know, the final act, and just some things here and there could have been developed more. You know, I think at times it's a bit too basic here and there. You know, just some of the characters, and even the backstory at times. You know, would have liked a bit more, you know, kind of shown in this film, more reactions as well, you know, from the characters. That's one of the things, you know, about this film. Sometimes the characters are not really reacting, you know, in you know, that expressive ways, really. But you know, I did enjoy, especially, of course, Rod Steiger and James Brolin in this film. You know, really good performances here. You know, the way in which we have this, the character of obviously George, you know, kind of really losing his mind over the course of the film. The way, you know, his eyes become more red, yeah, as we go throughout the film, and just his performance in general. James Brolin was really good here, and just this gradual, you know, descent into this, you know, kind of madness, really, in a sense, and becoming more and more unhinged as we go throughout the film. So, you know, even though, you know, the kind of, it's quite abrupt at the end where he kind of is all okay. You know, I thought it was well done until that, and you know, just think, yeah, they're definitely commendable performances. As I say, the way it was directed at times, quite minimalist, and definitely effective overall, and the editing, the cinematography, and you know, the actual sound design, you know, too. This is definitely all to praise, you know, in different ways, and you know, I think as well, just the actual the score to this was, as I say, very good at times. So yeah, that's a film that I do enjoy. It's creepy. It's really nice locations. It's got an atmosphere to it, you know, for the most part, and you know, I think the characters, definitely a few of them that I do really enjoy at times, and get invested in this, even though it's quite basic. You know, it's definitely just a pleasant film, you know, to watch. And it was just nice to see this film again, you know, in the Halloween season, rewatching after so many years, and yeah, all the memories, you know, came back to me as I was watching this film. So yes, that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? What is your experience with this? How does this compare to different films in the franchise for you? And yeah, what do you think on this one? It'd be great to hear in the comments, of course, and we can talk about this, and just celebrate the Halloween season, of course, which, you know, I absolutely love, and I think it's definitely, you know, been better for me, you know, in the last kind of 7 or 8 years, you know, or so, since I was obviously, you know, a young kid, you know, kind of 10, 11, or less. But I think it's definitely been great the last few years. Because it's especially focusing on the films again for the Halloween season, and it's been great. And I think definitely many more films to talk about on the channel for this month, and I look forward to that. And let's celebrate Halloween, of course, through cinema, and it'd be great to hear your thoughts on this film. And as I say, celebrate this season, talk about different horror films. So yes, as always, take care and thanks for watching.